Welcome to Write for Joy. My name's Allie Cross. I'm a USA Today best-selling author and certified life coach. I have chased joy my whole life until one day I realized I already had it. I found my joy, and now my goal is to help you find yours. Joy is all around us, so let's see if we can grab some of it for ourselves today. I'm Allie Cross, and this is Write for Joy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Write for Joy. I'm Allie Cross, and I am joined today by my friend. He doesn't know that I look up to him, but I actually do. This is Craig Kingsman. Craig is a really unique guy. You can say hi for the
Hi.
listener. Hi. His day job is this internationally recognized tech thought leader. He's a software architect and he's written books on the subject, and he goes around and teaches on the subject. When you get this guy talking about writing mystery and murder, he's amazing. He said he writes about murders because committing them would be a real bummer for the victim. So yes, it would. He's working on his first novel that hopefully will be out soon. We've been cheering him on for a while now, his writer buddies. So we all look forward to reading that. He is on the board of the Rocky Mountain chapter for Mystery Writers of America. He's a member of Sisters in Crime. And if I know anything about him, he's not just this lurker member. He is probably in there in the mix, helping people and teaching because that's his thing. Private Eye Writers of America. And he also runs the Utah Mystery Writers group on Facebook.
A regular write-in, and we have a book club too.
Oh, sweet.
Yes.
Yeah. He also has a wife, and her name's Lori Heath, who's also an award-winning mystery writer. And they have two cats, Mystery and Mayhem. It can't get any cooler than that. I feel like you, Craig, really know yourself. And I think that's really unique.
Who am I? Wait a minute. I got
Like, do you think does that sound true to what you believe of yourself? Or is it just a persona or a way that I perceive you?
well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. That means that I fooled another person. No, I'm just joking. Really, I really like writing. I wrote a lot of text stuff, and it's quite different. I've had to learn how to write fiction, and that's why it's taking me years to get a story out. Although the first one I started on, I've shelved. The muddled middle really was muddled, and I couldn't unmuddle it.
Yeah.
So and I spent too long trying that. So I'm starting a new one. Earlier this year, I started a new one. I'm into that now, set in a fictional town in rural Utah. And actually, I went out a couple of weeks ago to the location scout to see would it work here. And yes, it will. So I'm very happy about that, which means I don't have to find another location. I'm still just working on the first draft. So, who knows when people might see it.
I
It's
imagine
likely
too,
that I'll
you're gonna
self-publish. So that will get it out, at
a
least a
little
year sooner.
faster. You were writing technical stuff or
Mhm.
nonfiction. So how long have you been writing fiction?
Oh, 5, 6 years, something like that.
Okay.
7. I've lost track. I can't tell you exactly when I really started.
Well, Writer's Lunch started 6 years ago and you were there. So you must have been writing at least a little bit right
Yeah.
before that.
Okay. Yeah, that
So,
could be. And like I said, I fiddled with it for too long. The story
yeah.
I was
Well,
for too long.
the
So
first books are different beasts altogether, I
yeah,
think.
yeah. Well, I did have a short story published. One of my groups published an anthology. And I had a short story in that was a mystery. It wasn't a mystery anthology. It was mostly sci-fi fantasy.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but I was the one person in the group that wanted to write mysteries. You know the old saying that the butler did it. It's a
Yeah.
cliche. So I actually wrote a story called The Butler Did It.
Uh-huh.
It was a mystery that took place in a very formal British butler school.
Fun.
So
Where
which
there's
butler
so
did
many
it?
butlers. So which
So many butlers. And it was a lot of
Fun.
fun.
Do you tend to write some humor in, or how do you keep your books, or do you not, from getting too dark?
Well, I think it takes a lot of skill to write this psychological thriller or mystery. You really have
Yeah.
to have plotted it well, I believe, and know what you're doing. I'm going to be the last person to say I know what I'm doing because I haven't got a book out there yet. So there's a lot to it I don't know yet. But yeah, I try to put some humor in there. In fact, I just a couple of days ago wrote a quite humorous scene and read it to Laurie, and she laughed. She thought it was really good.
Well, you
Um,
are a funny guy, so you might
it
as
isn't a
well.
humor, and it wouldn't be considered a humorous mystery. It would be considered probably closer to a cozy right now, what I'm
Yeah.
doing. There probably will be a couple of swear words in it, so it depends on your definition of cozy. You swear word or two might be okay, but some people it's not.
I didn't
Uh,
know that that was part of cozy. I thought it
yeah,
was more
cozy is
fun.
typically you don't have any like a lot of really bad swear words. You don't have sex. You don't have a lot of blood.
I
I
just thought
tell
it was a
people
small town mystery.
typically an amateur sleuth. I typically
Yeah,
tell people Murder She Wrote. If
right.
you watch Murder She Wrote, that's a cozy. You never see the person get killed. You know, it's always the body's always lying on the floor. You know, Jessica Fletcher's an amateur sleuth, the whole thing. So I don't have that. My current story is a retired cop goes back to his small hometown in Utah after retiring to help care for his mom who's going through cancer treatment. And he finds out that his old high school sweetheart has moved back to town with her family.
Mhm.
And of course, a few days later, her husband ends up dead.
Mhm.
And the two of them have been seen around town, so they become suspects. And of course, there's other suspects too. But a mystery is one of those things I think you really have to plot. Some people just, they pants mysteries and I don't know how they do it. You've really got to plot it and plant the clues and plant
I
the
guess
red
they would
herrings
have
and all
more
that stuff.
revision passes for sure to make sure that they're planting that foreshadowing and everything in there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so let's talk now about what we're here for.
Okay.
Um, so this show is about finding your joy, finding things in your life that bring you joy. And we're writers, so we're going to talk about writing. But first of all, how would you, Craig Kingsman, define joy?
That's it's a really tough thing to answer because what's the difference between joy and happiness, for example, right?
Right.
Um, so, but I would have to say it's doing things that make me happy,
Mhm.
brings me joy. And that could be a lot of things. It could be, a night out with my wife. It could be, going to places and exploring new places or going to places I've been that I really love. It could be just getting together with friends for lunch, like we do occasionally
Yeah.
and be with people. Another thing that I really like doing is teaching. I tell people it's in my blood. My mom's a school teacher. My sister was a school teacher. My brother's a school teacher. I had aunts and uncles who were
Holy mo
school teachers.
wow.
So, so I really like doing that and helping people to improve their skills, whatever that, whether it's tech or writing or
Yeah.
whatever that
I
might
know
be.
it comes really natural to you too. Like that's your default. And it's pretty awesome.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah.
I like that
So,
definition of joy. You're doing things that make you happy that ultimately bring you joy. So here is the question. Where do you find joy in your writing? You've been doing it now for 6 years without that kind of payoff. You're kind of in the slog of it right now. You're doing all this hard work without a lot of feedback, but you're still doing it. You're still showing up. So, where do you find joy?
my wife being also a mystery writer, I find a lot of joy in doing writing activities with her. We'll go to conferences together. We'll go to retreats together and we'll go to lunches together as, you know, we show up often together at our
Yeah.
lunches. And so for me, that's great. I love doing that. Bounce ideas off each other. We try to be somewhat accountable to each other. That's what's bringing me the most joy. She's there with me and she's making progress. And in fact, she's further ahead of it than I am. where she's actually doing some editing to get her stuff out.
Yeah.
That really is a great thing because she's had a lifelong dream of being a writer and I have not. So to see her succeed also brings me great joy. And I like getting with the writers and talking to them about what they're doing and learning about them and making those friendships. That's part of my joy, I think, of writing.
So it's a very solitary act, and yet you're making it social, you know, with your wife and with your friends. I don't know why listening to you talk made me like get all verklempt. I'm all teary over here
Want a
and
tissue?
I'm like super hard-hearted. Like I do not cry on a dime. But I really love that. I love that your joy is in the sharing of story and an experience you're sharing with Lori and sharing with our writers lunch buddies and conferences. And I think that's really amazing. I
Well,
think it's
you know,
beautiful and something
the
I
actual
should.
writing process itself is very solitary, but I like to say it takes a village to create a novel.
Yeah,
And
sounds
it
about right.
really does because you've got to have your beta readers and your editors and you know, the public if you're going traditional, the publishers, and then you need your reader. They're all part of that. So it takes more than just by yourself to get the book out and going. And I like making those contacts to build that village that I need. And maybe somewhere along the line, I can help someone else build theirs.
I think you already are. So that is awesome. I'm
Thanks.
very grateful to have you in my friend circle and to learn from you all the time. Is there anything, any sort of parting shots or whatever you would like to share? I will, of course, share all of your links so that if any other mystery writers are listening and would like to know the organizations that you belong to or where they can connect with you, sign up for your newsletter, and find out when that awesome book of yours comes out. All of those links are here in the show notes. So, any final words, Craig?
The first thing is I'm in the process of moving my website and I haven't tested if the newsletter link is still working, but it will be. So don't give up. The other one is if you're new, like I'm going to consider myself new because basically I'm unpublished in the fiction world. Don't give up. Keep going. If that first book doesn't work for you, you get stuck, move on to a different idea like I did. Just don't give up and keep pushing forward and find those friends to help you.
I love it. Great advice. Thank you so much, Craig, for
Thanks,
joining
Sally.
us. And I can't wait to read your book. And
Awesome.
you're awesome. Have a
Thanks,
great
Sally.
day,
You too.
Craig. Thank you
Okay.
so
Bye bye.
much.